Hey there guys, and welcome back to Mana Down Under. I'm so sorry it's been a few days. I've had a lot of family drama, I've missed my channel. I'm glad to be back. I've got a lot of video ideas. And today we're doing a Commander deck idea on the new Niv-Mizzet Parun from Guilds of Ravnica. Now like always, Commander deck ideas are me suggesting cards or combos or things just to know about the deck. No hardcore deck list here, but I will probably put the list in the description, the cards I mentioned anyway in the video. So the new Niv has changed. He's still 6 mana, but he's triple blue, triple red, where he used to be double and 2 generic. So he's changed a bit. He can't be countered, really good protection. Flying, whenever you draw a card, Niv deals the damage to any target. He's always had that kind of ability. Here's the big thing. Whenever a player, anyone, doesn't have to be you, any player plays an instant sorcery, you draw a card. That's where the deck's built around. We care about pinging. He's like a machine gun pinger, just lack. All these shots going out, drawing cards, and we kind of storm off a bit, have a bit of fun. So let's get into them. So first up, there's a couple of cards in the deck that give you a free win. Curiosity, Ophidian Eye, and Tandem Lookout. If any of these are enchanted or soulbound to Niv, you're going to win the game. The idea being they say whenever the enchanted creature deals damage to an opponent, you may draw a card. Not combat damage, any damage. Niv does the ping himself. So give Niv Curiosity here. So if you draw a card, Niv triggers, you get to ping them for 1 damage, but since Niv dealt the damage, you draw a card, but since you just drawn a card, Niv deals another damage, and you just sit there looping it. And it has the word may, so you can't, insta-lock yourself in a loop and not end it, so you can win the game. You can use this to kill multiple players in a turn, win the game, kill every creature, free win, what do you know. Storm count. The deck can go off pretty easy. Swarm Intelligence and 1,000 Year Storm, if left for a turn, oh my god, try counting up the storm. So the idea of Storm Intelligence, you cast instant sorcery, copy it, choose new targets. 1,000 Year Storm, same thing, but whenever you cast instant sorcery, for each other instant sorcery cast before it, copy it. So you get a lot more triggers going on. And there's a lot of creatures in the deck that generate an army from us casting or drawing. So Murmuring Mystic, Young Pyromancer, and Talrand will give us tokens just from casting these sorceries. The Locust God is when we draw cards, which we just do as much. I like the Locust God a bit more because I like the fact that 1/1 flies with haste. He has a looting mechanic built in, and when he dies, he just goes back to your hand anyway. So I like his recursion. And then you've even got Metallurgic Summoning, which every time you cast an instant sorcery, you create a token equal to the CMC of what you just did. And it does have a bit of graveyard recursion, but got a few hoops to jump through. Now the game plan. So Niv is all about that ping. That's how we're going to find a win. We do need to draw, but I feel these cards here support the ping plan. Psychosis Crawler doesn't deal the damage, it's just they lose a life. But the amount of draw we do, it might as well be a ping. Sentinel Tower is like a storm pinging. The idea is it deals 1 damage plus the number of spells you've cast this turn, which is kind of storm, but ping. Sphinx Bone Wand is a bit more expensive at 7 mana, but it remembers the count. Every time you cast an instant sorcery, you put a charge counter on it that it deals damage to any target equal to counters on it. So the longer it's left out there, the bigger that count's going to be, the more damage. In the archive here, it just doubles up life gain, and if you draw a card after you first, draw an additional one. In this deck, that's a lot. The life gain, we don't matter too much. We have, I think, 2 cards about life gain, but still, the more draw, the more damage. So you need to be tripping. You need to be tripping hard. Not drugs, kids. Don't do drugs, but play cantrips instead. All your 1 mana, maybe 2 mana cantrips, run them all. You want cards that can replace themselves, away you go. Here's a few on screen. I didn't have Serum Visions on here, I don't have the room, but pick as many cantrips as you can fit in your deck, because it's going to draw you cards, deal damage, draw you more cards to deal more damage. It's going to be a great time. Double upping. We've got a few cards in the deck that let us double up our spells. Pyromancer's Goggle does it if it's for a red instant or sorcery. The Primal Amulet, before it flips, keeps things down in cost, and if it does flip, if you use it for mana for an instant sorcery, double it up. The Conjecture here returns instant sorceries from our graveyard to hand, more value. And then the big stage 3, you get a whole turn of double spells. So try and build up to it, lead into it, try and win the game on that one if you can. Twincast and Reverberate are great in the deck, always love to have them. They just copy an instant sorcery and you choose new targets. Remember, they can counter a counter, it's just protection and versatility in one card. Bonus round, good fun from Battleborn. Until the end of turn, if anyone plays instant sorcery, double up, so it can get a bit chaotic. Be careful who you're playing against if they've got hardcore removal. Past in Flames. It might be a little bit like Modern Storm, but it works. We've got a whole graveyard full of cantrips in there that we can use. Might as well. Now into the supporting role. funny enough, a lot of other Izzet commanders support the deck. So Melek and Arjun are probably the better two, I think. Melek lets us play the top card of our library if it's instant sorcery, and if we do cast from the top, we copy it, just more value. Jorian, if you cast a second spell each turn, draw a card, pretty easy in this deck. Arjun is a bit silly, and we've kind of got a bit of a sub-theme with this called hand resetting. So whenever you cast a spell, put the cards in your hand, bottom of your library, and you draw that many. So every time we reset a hand of, 6 or 7, Niv gets to ping 6 or 7 because we're drawing into a new hand of 6 or 7. And we've gone a little bit down that path for high damage output. The Kenrith twins, or Battle Bond partners, are pretty good. Will is probably the better one, I think. His +2 is handy. It makes the creature 0/3 with no abilities. That way the Niv can kill some big threats. Or his -2 is pretty strong. You draw 2 cards, instant sorceries and planeswalkers cost 2 less for the turn. Rowan works too, but Will does a lot more in the deck. Goblin Necromancer, Baral, Chief and Compliance, and Jace the Sanctum all keep our spells down a bit further, helps us get ahead. Baral gives us a looting effect when we counter a spell, and we do have a pretty strong counter theme in the deck, because that's our form of protection and control. The Sanctum lets us scry, can't really go wrong, we'll dig pretty deep with it. Azami, Lady of the Scrolls, tap a wizard to draw a card. We have a lot of wizards in the deck. I think majority of the creatures would be a wizard in this kind of deck. Great option here. And here's those hand resetting cards I was saying. Dragon Mage, when it hits a player, each player discards a hand and draw 7. Archivist lets you pay blue and tap to reset everyone's hands equal to the greatest number of cards discarded this way. Magus is a wheel, sack it, everyone resets to 7. Then there's Windfall, which lets you reset your hands equal to the greatest number of cards discarded. These are great because you're putting out a huge amount of damage through Niv, you're drawing more cards for other combos in your deck, and you're disrupting your opponent. They want to have a steady hand so they know what they're doing. If you're resetting it every few turns, it messes up their game plan a bit. Now we're into more of the combat support. Chasm Skulker is great support because we just draw a ton of cards, gets really big, if it does die, instant army they have to deal with. Charmbreaker can be kind of a one hit or quit. It can get really big in like one-shot territory in this kind of deck. But it doesn't have trample, it's not unblockable, but it's a genuine threat they have to deal with nonetheless. And it does return an instant sorcery every turn at random. The Drakes are just big flies in this deck, not really much to say about them. Consecrated Sphinx and Jin are greed in this deck, so much greed. If they do get to stick, especially the Praetor, your opponent is in danger of dying. The amount of draw, the amount of pinging that will be going on is near lethal. It's so good. Mind Unbound's a bit janky, takes a lot of ramp up, but once it's going, got a few counters on it, you're going to draw a ton of cards, more ping. Staff of Nin, one of my commander deck building favourites, because you can go in any deck, you draw an extra card each turn, and you can headshot weenies, keep planeswalkers in checks. Great card, I run in most of my decks. Into the Infinite is a bit of a combo card if you ever see it. Your hand becomes your library, and your library becomes your hand, and you have no hand size to end a turn. The idea being, you've just drawn your entire library. That might be what? Let's say 60, 65 cards. An opponent, they don't have that much life, so it will hopefully kill one person outright and severely wound another player. It's a free win for 12 mana pretty much. Pull from Tomorrow can be a burn spell and draw spell in 1 in this deck. Treasure Cruise can be pretty spicy when you delve it away to draw 3 cards 1 mana. Ristic Studies is an amazing card in the deck. I hate playing against Ristic Study because it's like, do you pay 1, do you pay 1, do you pay 1? But people might consider it in this deck, because if they don't pay the 1, you get to deal 1 damage, and they could lose a creature or a token, Planeswalker could lose a few points. It is a threat in this deck as well. And getting towards the end, Teferi's Puzzle Box follows that hand resetting plan, bit chaotic. Fencer's Journal is a form of life gain in this deck, so depending on the meta or way you play, if you've got a lot of aggro or burn kind of players in Commander, consider the Journal, and it does give you no hand size, which is helpful. If you've got the dollars, Jace's Mind Sculptor is great. His 0, draw 3 cards, so Brainstorm. So if you get to Brainstorm and deal 3 damage divided where you need to, that's efficient at its best. Grape Shot, it works. It can storm off in the deck pretty easy. It might get a kill on a player, or maybe it might kill a really big threat, you never know. But include it, it's good fun. Now into your actual control and removal. Your Izzet, you got some pretty good stuff. You want to be all about that turn and burn. You want all your versatility and options in your counter spells and your burn. So things like Rewind that help you untap lands, or Confluence, Insidious Will, and Command that give you multiple options and potentially draw to deal more damage. Even counter spells like Remand and Dream Fracture, which counter spell and draw you a card, is great. Make sure you have a huge selection of them in your deck, because that's your form of protection. You don't have much of a creature base except for the tokens you can generate, so protect your board with these counter spells. Your rocks are important in the deck. Your commander is triple, it's painful to cast, so having colorless rocks don't really help the deck out. You need the colored ones more than anything. And in addition, the Locket and the Cluestone, even the Keyrune, draw you cards, which can help win a game. You never know, someone might be close to death, or there might be a threat you need to remove. Sacking these to draw a card could save a game or win a game. And if you do go pretty heavy in your rocks, which you should, consider Paradox Engine, because you are casting all these spells really cheap, cantripping away, reset your artifacts, cast more, it could be a thing, just saying. Your lands. Make sure you have all your dual lands that produce both the colors you need, because they are important in the deck, being horrible casting cost as he is. But things like Makoro and Gaia Reach are great. For 2 mana, you're going to draw a card or loot for each player, just gives us a bit more damage and reach. Wreck Tower, no hand size, that's what we need in this deck. Arcane Lighthouse is a must. It removes Hexproof and Shroud from your opponent's creatures, which, if Niv couldn't target them, well now he can. And Riptide Laboratory is getting expensive, but for 2 mana, to bail any wizard back to your hand, it's great. What's that? Removal, board wipe on Niv, bounce him out of there, get him back in, because command attacks on him can be pretty painful. And to end the video off, a couple of my spicy little picks. I love the collar, I run it in a lot of my pinging commanders, even my Wrathwell of the Wild. Giving a ping commander Death Touch is very terrifying. A lot of people go, okay, well, they might have to pay a lot of mana to ping a big creature dead. But if they can just pay 1 mana to ping any creature dead, watch out. Grafted Exoskeleton. Giving Niv Infect is a very quick clock. You have to draw 10 cards to kill someone. In a Niv deck, that's nothing. Or even another way to deal with instockable creatures. In Sigil of Sleep. 1 mana enchantment, when an enchanted creature deals damage, not combat, just deals damage to a player, return target creature they own to their hand. You can unsummon all their tokens or commanders or whatever, you can really disrupt the board. Like always guys, there's lots of cards I've probably missed. This commander is very good, lots of different ways to build them, that's what I noticed while doing this video. You can go like a mill, hardcore combo setup, full on hand resetting, just burn them out like a 10 damage at a time. Lots of different ways to do this deck. I've kind of gone just with the ping mid-range kind of setup. But other cards to consider would maybe be Sphinx's Tutelage and Jace's Erasure, if you want to add a little bit of mill in the deck. Don't become a mill deck, but it gives you a different form of pressure. Rather than pinging or winning on the ground, you can mill them as well, remove a couple of things they need. And you could win with the Sphinx's Tutelage, it wouldn't be that hard. Gutter Snipes is another form of damage in the deck, but he doesn't live often. He usually cops Path to Exile or a Bolt pretty quick. Chaos Swap, good removal and commander, take what you can get. Long-term planning, the way you're drawing so many cards, becomes a 2 dispel kind of in the deck. Mission Briefing, it will be a snappy in the deck. If you've got a Snapcaster Mage, run them, sure, they're great in the deck. Mizzet's Mastery lets you cast your entire graveyard for instant sorceries. It will win a game. Most people try and counter or disrupt it if they can. And then you've got Helm of the Host, one of my favourite cards. It breaks every commander deck it's in. Having more than 1 copy of Niv, more damage, more draw, more damage gained, you're just going to win the game pretty quick. Alright guys, like I said, there's lots of different ways to build the Niv deck. He's really fun, very versatile, can be built in different ways. How do you want to build the deck? What cards do you want to include? What cards should I include? I don't know. Let me know all your thoughts below guys, and have a good one. See yas. Thanks for watching guys. Please remember to like and sub and click the bell icon for notifications, it's greatly appreciated. And if you have any deck or video ideas, just suggest them down below, and have a good one guys.